I love to get to travel around the country, meet firefighters. It just keeps me going. It manages, whatever you want to call it. It calls it PTSD, but it manages my guilt. For a good friend of mine that died in a fire in Pensacola, a 1,200 square foot, one-story ranch, 19 years ago. So today when I'm speaking, and it seems that I'm angry, I am. I'm not going to tell you I'm not. I'm angry. I'm angry at myself. I'm angry at you. I'm angry at the fire service, but in a loving way, because today I'm going to go through a lot of different topics, and what I want to get across to you is people's lives depend on you. Your brothers and sisters, firefighters' lives depend on you. Each and every one of you could give a little more and be better at your job. Would you agree with that? But it's so easy to get complacent. It's so easy to have 21 years on the job and say, I'm 1 year from retirement. I love it when I meet somebody and they're down to their 33 shifts left and they're still taking a class because they know the worst part of their career could be one, the last shift. People live and die based on your ability, based on your performance, based on your skills, knowledge, and ability. Imagine being at a fire in a commercial occupancy where we probably shouldn't have been inside, but we were. There's a collapse, and a brother or sister firefighter by the back door, trapped, and their bell's ringing if it's an MSA, or their vibro alert's going off if it's a Scott Air pack. And it's you and one other firefighter, and all you have is a 30-inch crowbar and an 8-pound axe on a commercial door. Could you force it before they ran out of air? Could you force that steel door, that steel frame with a drop bar with pins? Could you do it? How many times have you forced that steel door prop? How many of you have ever been on a door prop before? Raise your hand. To commercialize it. And you do it a few times, and after you get it, you just boom, you pop it open, you're like, I got it, right? But I see it all the time even on my job. I own 4 door props myself in my company, and I spread them around Escambia County. But I'll go to a mobile home fire, and I'll see Johnny or Susie, and they would never want me to film them at that trailer fire because it makes them what? Look inadequate. And I'm not saying they're inadequate, but the reality is, you either want to be Jerry Rice or Larry Bird. I couldn't name the people of today, but, or Michael Jordan, or you just kind of want to be halfway there. That's the question. Who do you want to be? You want to be great? Everybody wants to be great. Everybody wants to be a part of greatness. Everybody wants to have this ultimate legacy. But are you going to put in the time in the off season? See, the problem is there is no off season for us. It's day in and day out. It's a 24/7, 365 days a year. Plain and simple. Who in here has heard me speak before, just to kind of give you an idea? Anybody? Just a couple of you? Okay. So some things, I'm pretty passionate about it, but some things I get over and over. As I told you, I've lost numerous friends on the fire ground. So today when I talk about it's worth the risk, that's kind of my thing. It's worth the risk. It's worth the risk to put yourself out there. It's worth the risk to train over and over and over. It's worth the risk to go out and risk your life to save someone else's life. But don't take me out of context today. I know what it's like to lose a fellow brother firefighter on a fire ground. Personally, fires that I've been to, departments that I've worked with, and then also friends around the country. But at the end of the day, as my father told me after Maurice died, son, I know it sucks, but tomorrow you got to get up, you got to put one foot in front of the other, you got to carry on with the quality count. And it's just like the military. When soldiers die, we stop the war, pick everything up, and come back to American soil. No, we look at it, we study it, see what went wrong, maybe a little bit more armor in the Humvees, maybe a little bit better PPE for them, maybe a little bit better recon. But we're still doing what? We're putting soldiers on the ground until the war is over. And the reality is our war is daily throughout the streets of America, whether it be Idaho Falls, LA to New York, to Miami to Seattle. And we have no option but to continue to respond. The fire service a few years ago was in a dilemma of putting us before them. We're in a dilemma. And we were on the track. That's the direction we were going, us before them. And I think we're back on track to understand that who comes first. Who comes first? Them, plain and simple. If you don't, you can get up and leave down. They do. That's because guess what? Nobody came and knocked on your door, most likely, and said, hey, we want you to be a firefighter. If you're a volunteer, sometimes they do recruit, but if you're working for a municipality, you beg for You wanted to be on the fire department. Now, when we say them, before, does that mean we would go out and get kamikaze or on a suicide mission? No, it just means that we go there, we know that we're free to do what? Take some calculated risk to save your life. We pull up and there's heavy fire in the basement of a 2.5-story frame, and fire's coming out every window, looking into the basement. Are we going to probably slow back and evaluate if we can even make it push in or without? Yeah, guaranteed. So those are things that we can do. Between today and tomorrow, and I mean, I could talk 3 hours without stopping, so I just want to let you know I got a timer that's going to make me give you a break. But I'm going to hit a lot of topics, and basically between today and tomorrow, I'm basically giving you 2 days of the meat and guts of a 40-hour strategy and tactics program that hits a lot of different things. And as I talk today and tomorrow, this is not your junior college or your college or your state curriculum. This is not and I don't mean any disrespect, it's not checking a box, friends. It's what you call professional development seminar. My job is today and tomorrow is to teach you and maybe remind you, challenge you to make yourself better and go back and test your organizational vision of where you want to be operating the fire line. Maybe it's getting the dust off of that 3-year-old door problem. Maybe it's borrowing that flow meter from your neighbor's fire department. And I'll just go ahead and get right to the punch. Who in here is 100% positive that you know exactly how much water is coming out the your nozzles based on the pump pressure that you use with the hose and nozzles you use? You use the flow meter and a pitot gauge. You use the flow meter and a pitot gauge to flow your hose line package. Your hose and nozzle will know exactly how much water is coming out. Raise your hand. About less than a third. Right off the bat, if you're taking notes, you write that down. That'll be one of your top objectives next week, is to get a hold of and acquire a flow meter and a pitot gauge to flow test your hose and nozzle. You think a law enforcement officer knows what kind of gun they carry on their side, or what kind of gun is in their SUV or their patrol car? They have an idea if it's a 45 or a 9mm and how many rounds go in the magazine. Then we, the fire service, I'm going to tell you right now, there's very few things that are even debatable that's more important than water on a fire. Water application in today's fire with fire burning. 3 minutes and 40 seconds from ignition to flash rate. Firefighters in the 60s, 70s, and into the 80s were dying from truck company operations. They were dying from getting lost, disoriented, collapse, explosion, different things like that. In the last 20 years, in the last 2 decades, the majority of line of duty deaths have been from rapidly changing fire conditions. The fire itself got it, whether it be attacking the structure quicker than it did 30 or 40 years ago, or more commonly a flashover. And when we have a flashover, rapidly changing fire conditions, you can have rescue crews from Brooklyn, squad fires from Chicago, rescue one from Seattle, rescue one from San Francisco. You see them all this, the flying squad of New Orleans. All the biggest, most baddest, most urban, experienced rescue companies in America stand out flying. And if somebody on the first 2 engine company in Idaho falls, it's on the nozzle and a flashover happens, what are all those rescue squad companies going to do for them? Huh? Nothing. It's over. The flashovers occur. The degradation and breakdown of the gears occur. Even if they do like they did with Stephen Solomon of Engine 16 in Atlanta, where they removed him from flashover to him in the back of the ambulance, was 2 minutes and 23 seconds. Guess what still happened to him? He died and we buried him and put him 6 feet under. And I tell you this because we got off track after December 1999 when Worcester happened. Who's familiar with the 6 in the cold storage warehouse in Worcester? No disrespect, I just had dinner with Chief McMahon, the chief that was all over the thing. Just had dinner with him 2 weeks ago. So I can tell you what he said on the right side of my wife was on the left side. Highly respected fire department, great fire department. But the American Fire Service after Worcester, the cold storage warehouse, who was on the job in December 1999 at the cold storage warehouse? Raise your hand, hold it up. Give me an idea who. Raise it up, hold it up high. Raise it, hold it up high. All right, few people. When that happened, we do like we do everything. We do catastrophic performance, we knee-jerk reaction. For the next 10 years after December 1999, what was the top priority for every fire department in the country? What was the top priority for training? Red. Almost sound like a broken record. Survival. Not even British support. I think survival support. went to the training trainer at FBC Engine Performance Place, the premier hands-on training place in the country. He comes down and teaches at H-Rock every year. But at the end of the day, RIT is when we fail on our basics. RIT is where we fail on our basics. So you don't go and learn the advance and not have the basics of residential fourth clenching. Proper hose line advancement with an understanding of how much water is truly flowing based on nozzle selection, the hose that feeds that nozzle, and not we pump it for how it feels good. You ever heard that before? Well, we pump all our lines at 110. Why do you pump it? I don't know. Hey, John, why do we pump it at 110? Oh, because that's what feels good. I guess y'all never heard that. That's pretty common everywhere in the country. Maybe it's just not Idaho, right? So we don't pump based on what we can manage or what feels good. We pump based on a national standard. What is the national standard for residential fire attack? 150. It's nothing else. It's not 150. It's 150. That's what it is. Now the problem is some people took Andy Fredericks out of context in the 90s, and he said, well, if 150 is good, 185 better. And if 185 better, man, 210's gotta be the best. Right? And I'm going to talk about that this morning, about the big three of hose line and nozzle selection, and understanding that as much as the flow is critical, it has to be a flow that we can manage based on the size and compartmentation of the residential structures we're going to, based on our staffing and response. So there's more than just a flow. But I will tell you, and I said with Chief over here in Florida who actually contacted me to come here. And this is no disrespect to him, but this is pretty much what I say everywhere. I didn't contact Deputy Chief Dave from Idaho and said, hey, I'd like to come speak. I'm not a traveling salesman. I don't sell, vacuum cleaners or anything like that. Wherever I go, they contact and ask me. And I tell you that because that's more powerful because he knows who I am kind of, but he doesn't really know the message I'm going to say. So my message today is going to be pure. Does that make sense? I'm going to tell you what I think. It's not filtered by fire chief, a deputy chief, or chiefs association. I'm going to tell you what I think. And when I say stuff today, it might make the chief mad, it might make some other chiefs mad, but guess what my father told me at a very young age, son? He said the truth is going to piss you off just before it sets you free. So if you're getting mad sitting in church, you're getting mad listening to a speaker, you might want to write it down because in about a month you're going to say, they were right, they were challenging me to be better. They were challenging me to evaluate my situation and where I need to be. Because there is nothing more important for a fire department to be good at fighting fires, because there's nobody else coming. See, the American Fire Service is in turmoil right now. We're talking with each other because we've become so entrenched in EMS response, medical care response, that I'll just be plain and simple with you. We suck at fighting fires. Anybody in here willing to raise your hand and admit to, maybe not you as an individual with the American Fire Service, we really wouldn't want the public to know our true capabilities are where we should be and where we are today. Raise your hand. I'll raise mine. Raise your hand. Come on, be honest. Right? You are you and I apologize for that. One day they wake up. Because we all could be better in evaluating our apparatus specs, our hose loads. Would you agree that now we almost spec our apparatus and how we're going to carry our medical equipment to get to a med call so when we go to a fire, our hose bed is 20 feet off the ground? Our booster tank is as small as it can be because who cares about fast water? I mean, we don't need to worry about the fact that if one soda catches on fire, Mrs. Liverman is going to be flashed over before you can even get to the firehouse, right? And what's more important than water in the fire ground? Water, and more of it. So as today I talk about this, I want you to think about that. I want you to, I want you to go back to when I teach today in the morning. I'm going to hit a lot of things, for me I'm going to be redundant to you, the ones that don't take notes and you don't reflect or look at your notes. I want to sound like a broken record in your ear. I need to time my tank. I need to do a hose and nozzle evaluation. I need to figure out how many companies is it going to take for me to get an 1 3/4 to the second floor of a 2-story private dwelling when a fire is in a master bed they're going to charge you up for. I'm going to talk about that. Understanding that promotional fire do not move on fire. Promotional fire tactics do not move on fire. And what is promotional tactics? It's that textbook, or it's what you had to learn to get promoted to lieutenant, captain, or chief, and they put you in front of a string like this, and you had a bunch of evaluators, they put a fire in a 2-story house with a fire blowing out 2 windows on the first floor, and now instead of performing tactical assignments based on what you do in the real world. You're worried about the chief up there with his pencil and clipboard to make sure that, well, first new driver's accountability. My second new chief's going to be my rear sector officer. And literally, you're checking all these boxes, right? Instead of focusing on, I got a kitchen on fire. The first engine and the first rescue or transport of maybe your staffing, your additional staffing, needs to get an instrument recorder to the front door, and if we open the nozzle, it's flowing 150 gallons a minute, which is 2.5 gallons a second. The fire's going to be out in about 90 seconds. And we fixed all our problems. But if you're on a fire ground using promotional tactics, by the time you even get to stretching the line and put water on fire, the entire first floor is on fire. And now the family of 5 on the second floor's life's in jeopardy of you checking some boxes. Anybody here follow CF Tactics on Facebook? You don't, you can't like me, mine's maxed out at 5,000. Facebook does not like you to have more than 5,000 friends. So I'm maxed out. So if you're on Facebook, you can go to CF Tactics, and you can click and you can follow it. I shared an article the day before yesterday, and it's the 4 generations of command and control of fires. It's a pretty awesome article. There's a lot of truth. And it relates to military and combat and things like that. And anybody here blue card? Everybody's blue card? I grew up on Chief Cornacini, so no disrespect to Chief Cornacini. We need command and control once we have the tactical performances down to command and control them. You can't have fancy terminology without realistic fireground tactics. Does that make sense? It would be, well, it probably wouldn't relate to y'all because you're probably not familiar with a guy named Nick Saban or Dabo Swinney. It's just these 2 guys on the East Coast where I'm from. And they coach a couple football teams. And for them, as good as they are, one day you'll probably hear of them, those 2 individuals, like, it's not just about the coaching ability. They're only as good as what? Their players. And then, not just their players, the players themselves, but the depth on their bench. When the quarterback goes down, or the quarterback decides that since he's not starting, he's going to go to another college football team, and now you're looking at the 3rd string, and on and on and on. And at the end of the day, when it gets to the national championship and those 2 coaches are playing head-to-head, is coaching going to matter? Guaranteed. That's where the strategy is going to win the game when it's that close. But to get to the national championship, it was the running backs, the receivers, the tight end, the defensive line, the quarterback, the backup quarterback, the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator. See, in reality, I'm not even much into football, but I studied based on leadership and fireground operations. And at the end of the day, throughout the entire season, Dabo Swinney and Nick Saban could literally sit in their office and both teams would almost win every single game. Would you agree with that for the ones that know football? But when it comes to the final game, the biggest game of the year, your biggest fire of the year, when it's a build like this, that's when blue card, that's when strategy and tactics, strategy comes in. That's when the big chief needs to be there because it's beyond anything that quarterback that's a senior in college that's only played 4 years of high school, 4 years of college, but Nick Saban's been doing football for 40 years. And now he knows that we're behind, but don't sweat it, boys. Last 2 minutes of the 4th quarter, we're going to win this game based on what? Strategy and outthinking them for the long run. And that's where we, the Varsity, need to understand is to get to the national championship, to get to the big career fire, the decade fire, it really comes down to fundamentals. The first due driver, the first due company officer, and apparatus placement. Apparatus specking. How you check the rig in the morning and understanding the hydrant bag. All those details, because anybody that's been at this job long enough can sit at the kitchen table and talk about fire after fire after fire, where the things that went wrong were the basics, little things. Where engine 2 caught a hydrant, laid a supply line forward lane, because that's the only supply line that exists in the country now, right? We've totally forgotten fire trucks and lay those backwards, you know that, right? Like, why would we want to drop a supply line, reverse out to fully tap a hydrant, pump it, and move water? I mean, friction loss doesn't exist in pilots, right? I mean, it's just like laying a main on top of the road. And I'll get into that and being facetious, okay? But nobody's ever been to this fire. This only happens in my part of the country, where second due engine company catches a hydrant, lays a supply line, and they pull the hose off the back of the rig, and they get up to the first due engine that's pumping the fire, which we pull every single pre-connect off, and we'll have like 8 lines off the first due rig. If that one pump fails, we're in trouble. But hey, who cares? You know what I mean? It's suburban fire attack of America these days. Put all their eggs in one basket. And engine 2 will get that line, and they'll come up about about 10 feet short of hooking it in, and instead of going to the engineer's compartment and knocking the dust off of their 25-foot short pumper rig, they're going to go to the back of the rig and they're going to pull off what off the hose bed. I know 100, they're going to run it out in the middle of the street, and it's going to be this huge big spaghetti spiral as you get to this fire. You have it all over the place, and then Johnny or Susie's not going to hook it into the piston intake on the officer's side. They're going to hook it into what? The discharge. That's never happened in Idaho. That only happens in every other state in America. Raise your hand if you know about that fire where that happened, where the 5-inch got hooked in. Raise your hand and hold it up so everybody else sees. Raise it, hold it up high, hold it up high, hold it up high, hold it up high. I'm telling you, it happens in Escambia County where I work, it's happened in Pensacola where I work, it's happened in Midway, it happens all over. So it's not just you, but is that something we could have prevented just through some basic training? Through some proper supervision and direction? And then when that happens and Johnny or Susie hooks that 5-inch into that LTH discharge, that's when somebody with 22 years, and they've already done that, but they don't want to tell anybody, comes over and starts chastising and embarrassing and yelling at them and disgracing them, right? Does that happen sometimes? And that's where there's a failure of leadership. Because who was responsible to keep that from happening? The ones doing all the screaming and yelling. But they didn't want to get out of the lazy boy, or maybe plan a proper drill on water supplies to keep that from happening. See, our standard of expectations has to be set before the alarm drops. Our standard of performance response has to be set before the response, before the actual incident itself happens. We have to be predicting, and as Gordon Grant from California would tell us, predictable is preventable. And so just right now, I predicted to you that unless you talk about when you got your firehouse and train on it, that there's going to be a time where somebody in southeast Idaho is going to lay a supply line where the water supply is needed, and that 5-inch is going to get hooked into the discharge instead of the intake. Because it's happened in almost every part of the country. So once it happens, or I've told you about it, shouldn't that be something we work to prevent whenever we have that next fire and we lay that supply line? Guaranteed. Through just some explaining. And I tell people, in a court of law, not going to go to court, could I defend a 2-year firefighter that's run 2,000 medical calls, have been to 2 fires, never caught a hydrant before? Can I defend them on why they accidentally took the 5-inch and hooked it into the discharge instead of the piston intake? I could. It's so close. The separation is about a foot. And unless they stand 3 foot tall, what's the natural thing when they're walking up to the rig to hook that supply line into? The discharge. Because the piston intake, and that's why I don't get angry with people. I shouldn't say I don't get angry. I get angry at the company officer that failed to review this when they got assigned to the rig and they're in a position to catch a hydrant, or they're in a position to pump a rig. And then senior drivers, I tell senior drivers, unless you're in the middle of doing something, if somebody's bringing you a supply line to feed your rig, it's your job to confirm Johnny or Susie hooked that 5-inch into the proper location, an intake instead of a discharge. And I just use that as one of many examples of us in the fire service understanding that that is just as important as deciding if we're going to use a nasal airway or an oral airway, or what size, what drug we're going to use. Because could somebody's life depend on that water supply? Guaranteed. And more so on the fire ground, it could be us that's dependent on that water supply. Not just the civilians, but the firefighters themselves. You're looking up here, and primarily today and tomorrow, I'm going to do some leadership stuff too. I'm going to be talking, this is a commercial building, but I'm going to be talking about first alarm assignments. I'll talk a little bit about big fires, but I want to get down and dirty with basic, everyday, private dwelling fires. Because no one in here has ever been to a perfect attack of private dwelling. You can tell yourself you have, but nobody, we haven't been to it. I mean, at the end of the day, you may have got there and there was a set of kitchen cabinets, and you stretch the line and you put it out, but it's not perfect, because I can go outside and I can show you, the engine parts in a long wrong location. You park the ladder truck 2 blocks down the street, where if something would have exploded and it was a 2.5-story frame, and it was a peaked roof, then nice to have the ladder right in front of the building. But why on a $1 million ladder truck and on the small calls you're going to pop park 2 blocks away? And I'll tell you, does I don't have a ladder truck? Don't you think it probably costs $750,000 or $1 million? Guaranteed. Well, what's amazing is we're always waiting for the one we need. We're always waiting for the big one. I love that. Well, we didn't need on this one. When do you need? Oh, well, if you don't practice on the little ones of apparatus placement, in Escambia County, a ladder company on a smell of smoke, 9 out of 10 times on a smell of smoke, what do you think the driver of the ladder truck's doing with the ladder? Say it out loud. Set it up. 9 out of 10 times. If the chief of the department or the deputy chief, the day walkers as some people call them, showed up on a fire during the daytime, and it was, the outriggers were not set, at a minimum, they'd be asking why. The chief of the department, deputy chief showed up on a call in the daytime, and the outriggers weren't thrown. At a minimum, the chief's going to say, why are you just standing here? You're getting paid the same. Set it up. Right now, you have an opportunity to set this up on this private dwelling, this fast food restaurant, this 2 or 3 story garden apartment, and that's the time and place to do what? To go through that muscle memory over and over, where you can set the outriggers, where you can. Short jacket. Get right between 2 cars parked. The cars are parked in the garden apartment complex to where the driver can practice where that outrigger goes between 2 cars that are side by side, and then, really truly figuring out what's the reach. Because ladder trucks, there's a misconception in the American Fire Service that ladder trucks are for high rises. Ladder trucks are for 1, 2, and 3 story buildings. That's what they're for. If we get an opportunity like they do in the South Bronx or Manhattan or Brooklyn to use it on a 6-story tenement, great. But for you and I, throughout your entire career, the most common place you can use a ladder truck is a 1, 2, or 3 story building. That's it. Maybe a 4-story building. That's it. Whether it be for rescue operations, whether it be for offensive ventilation, or whether it be for defensive master strings where the ladder goes up and the building comes down. And we've got to practice that positioning, that placement, and then also the tools in the toolbox that are on it, and being able to use those ground ladders and control them over and over and over again. Because at the end of the day, civilian lives will depend on ladder company placement and the ground ladders they carry more tomorrow than they ever have in the history of the fire service. Civilians in this country's lives will depend on ladder company placement and the ground ladders they carry more tomorrow and in the future than they ever have in the history of the fire service. Why? I already covered it a minute ago. 3 minutes and 40 seconds. 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 Civilians are becoming trapped on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th floor of private dwellings and garden apartments more than they ever have in history. Why? Because the fire grows so fast now that they can't make it down the interior stairs, or they're getting caught on the 3rd or 4th floor balcony. A lot of times, is it a self-rescue where we provide the ladder they climb down? Guaranteed, but we have to be there ready to throw that ladder for them. I get emails to me. I'm not very good at posting anymore because I'm traveling so much. I got my hands in too many, fires. But almost every single day, somewhere in this country, the fire department makes a grab, whether it be a very, impressive where fire's blowing out, or it just be a self-rescue where the first floor's on fire and the ladder goes to the 3rd floor balcony. But it's still the ladders from the fire department. Ladders taken to the fire scene by the fire department save civilian lives. And we, the fire service, have got to capture that. Who in here carries a 3 section 35 because you're a suburban fire department? Raise your hand. 3 section 35, raise it up. Right? I'm sure you probably throw that thing like 10 times a month, right? You get off the rig, you're raising it fully extended, make sure both sets of dogs are locked, and you figured out how 3 people, exactly who stands where, right? Everybody does that, right? Why do you think I point that out? Because I would bet $10,000 that probably nobody in here has thrown in the last 6 months with 3 people fully extended to the maximum extension of a 3 section 35-foot ladder. Let's just be honest with ourselves. Remember I told you I'm not looking to come back, so I'm not here to make you feel good. I'm not here, to sell vacuum cleaners. Let's just be honest with ourselves. Why haven't we thrown that 3 section 35-foot ladder fully extended to its most ultimate reach? Because you took the word, it's uncomfortable. And we don't want to be embarrassed. Because I'll be honest with you, 3 section 35-foot ladder sucks. It's the worst designed ladder in the American Fire Service. They designed it for suburban county fire tactics, if you will, and we're uncomfortable with it. And I will say this, even in Escambia County where we make them train with over and over and over again, There's still nothing gracious about it. It's just, I mean, we have a system where one person stands like this, the other person stands like this, with two people are looking eye to eye, squared off on it, and one person does nothing but truly pulls a Howie and tries to pull it straight down so they're not teetering that ladder. And even as much as they drill, I still don't really want to film it and put it on YouTube or Facebook. But are they better than somebody that never throws it? And when you get to that 3-story, 4-story, multiple dwelling apartment building for us where there's waterfront like in the Gulf of Mexico, the intercoastal waterway, and there is no aerial device to reach it, that could be the difference between life and death for someone. It could be a civilian, it could be a firefighter. And I tell you, when a firefighter needs that ladder, you don't have time to get off the rig. If they need it, what does that mean happen? There's a flash over on a floor below, they get lost, maybe they get cut off, there's a collapse of the stairwell, so on and so forth. And I hope some of you here, their company officers and chief officers, you're taking some notes and I'm giving you, because I've already given you 3 ideas of in the next month that you can do what? A drill. 3 drill ideas and I'll let you next month. So, me coming today and talking to you today and tomorrow is more about what you're going to do with it over the next couple of weeks. That's what it really comes down to. Now, what I will tell you is I'm going to talk about time in the tank and getting out in the parking lot, stretching the line, and figuring out how long your booster tank will survive on your initial attack line. You might want to wait until next July 4th. The chief says you have 2 seasons, July 4th and winter. So maybe wait until next July 4th and then you can do that because we don't want to, that water turns to something here in the winter. I don't know what it is. We don't really have that problem. But just evaluate what you're doing. Who in here's primary nozzle on their initial attack line is an automatic? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Anybody else? Just 5 people? That's it? I only need to offend 5 people. Only 5 people? Automatic nozzles have no business being used for interior fire attack, plain and simple. Automatic nozzles should not be used for interior fire attack. It's simple. It's not in the debate. It's not an option. It's unacceptable, and it's disgraceful that it's 2019, almost 2020, and we still have fire departments using automatics. Yes, I'm a fan of Elkhart Brass, not just the company, even before I know, and I'm personal friends with almost everybody that works for Elkhart, but it's not about signing up for nozzle. I don't care if you buy Akron or TFT. At the end of the day, it's the type of nozzle, not the brand of nozzle. You know, yes, I like Elkhart for, you know, the support. I think they supported this conference, that sort of thing. They have good customer service, just great individuals that aren't trying to create some new gadget and make a bunch of money off of you. But at the end of the day, don't tell them it's a secret. Elkhart, TFT, and Akron all make fixed gallons nozzles, smoothbore nozzles. So what really matters to me is that the nozzle you're using as a fellow brother or sister is one that's going to give you 150 gallons a minute with a quality stream at 50 psi nozzle pressure on a good hose line that you can manage with a 3 or 4 person company assigned to it. And if you roll up with 2 on a company, that just means the second 2 companies going to help the first 2 companies going to marry together, whether it be an ambulance transport unit, a 2-person ladder company. And I think there's different types of staffing all over the country, different numbers of people, and that's going to dictate. But the primary attack line cannot be that promotional tactics where a 2-person company pulls up and says, engine 1's attack, engine 2 supply, truck 1 search. Engine 1, engine 2, and truck 1 can all be assigned to just get the first line in place and it needs to go to the 3rd floor rear of a 3-story government apartment. What do I call that? Time delayed tactics. It means the tactics that the ladder company would normally perform needs to be done, but it's going to be delayed because right now we need that ladder company to help that first 2 engine company get a line to the 3rd floor rear. Once that line gets to the 3rd floor rear where we put water on it, then maybe that ladder company can do what? Go to the roof and cut a hole, or do whatever else it is. But if you go to the hole and cut a roof, and the line never mentioned there, all you're doing is giving oxygen to burn the roof off of this common attic of a multiple dwelling. And there's a lot more to come. I'm a supporter and a fan of ventilation, whether it be horizontal or vertical. And I'll tell you this. Ventilation is needed more today than ever in the history of the fire service. I want you to listen. Ventilation, whether it be horizontal or vertical, or positive pressure. I think positive pressure is passed. We'll get into that. Horizontal, vertical, hydraulic, or positive. is needed more today than it ever has in the history of the fire service. I got my first set of marker deer in May 21st, 1988 as a junior firefighter. And I look back and I think of the fires that I went to in the late 80s, and then when I really started really hitting it heavy in the early 90s as an interior firefighter. And I'm going to tell you, I think we need vertical, horizontal, and forced ventilation more than we ever have in the history of the fire service. That's what the caveat is. The caveat is we've got to be more educated. When, where, and how we're going to do it. When, where, and how we're going to do it. We need it more than we've ever needed before. The problem is, if the timing's wrong, the location's wrong, and the type is wrong, it can be more catastrophic than it ever has been before. That's the catch. See, but we, the fire service, want to be lazy, and we want to be simplistic. We want to be lazy and we want to be simplistic. So the answer that our chiefs, our day walkers take, and no disrespect to them, is they'll go to a chief's conference, they'll read an article, and for them the simple answer is just say, we're not going to get on roofs anymore. Well, we're not going to break windows anymore. We're not going to do this, instead of saying, you know what, let's invest in training. You want to reduce line of duty deaths? You want to reduce line of duty deaths? It's simple. I think my buddy Shannon Stone said it in this Brothers of Battle podcast. Train more. It's that easy. You want to reduce line of duty deaths? Train more. That's all it really comes. It comes down to. And train more means in the gym too. Fitness. That's training. Fit to fight fire. John Spear from Colorado. How many firefighters a year die from aggressive firefighting? Aggressive interior fire. How many die a year from aggressive interior firefighting? How many? Less than 10. Less than 10. And I know somebody said 0, and I'm not going to disagree with you. You could probably debate that. Me and I think you could probably debate me. 0 might be the correct, possibly somewhat of a correct answer. How many firefighters do they define as dying in the line of duty death regardless of fire rate? What's the average number? 100. We have wanted to take that number of 100 and try to brainwash people that that 100 is from being salty and wearing a New York style helmet that's all burned up and looking all dirty with insulation all over us walking out of a fire burn. That's what the safety people want to try to make me think. They want to get up here on a stage, they travel the country, and they want to scaremonger the fire service into us before them, which is not what we were founded on. You want to really, raise your hand if you really want me to tell you what the 100 is. Tell me if you can stomach me being blunt out and directly what the 100 is. Raise your hand. I want to die head up. So the majority's got to vote for it, okay? It's simple. 150 are fat, overweight, and should be issued bunker gear and allowed to wear an aircraft. The other 25, the department failed to properly check them off to be a driver, and they're in rural Idaho, rural South Alabama, or in urban Escambia County, where we didn't properly give them enough experience to evaluate their heart rate riding backwards, much less a big old tanker truck, ladder truck, when they come in and going to a fire, and they're like, and the boss is over there screaming, shake the bait, boys, shake the bait, get the burner, boys, shake the bait, like shake it. And the kids in the back are freaking out, they're going crazy, and man, it's a circus going to a fire. You're laughing because you've been on that fire truck. Would we want the American people to see a video inside that cabin? There's only one thing that's going to fix it. It's a lot of pressure on you. You're pretty bold being in a class. It's your fault. It's your problem. And that's what's really being able to say, you know what? Johnny's not ready. And you got to tell the big boss, the chief, we need more overtime money because we're not going to force him in the spot just to keep paying overtime. We need to pay Bill or Susie that's got 22 years on the job. They can actually drive a fire truck calmly to a working fire until we can check him or her off. You with me on that? Because we've all worked in that fire department where we forced somebody in the driver's seat because there was nobody else in the shift. We didn't want to move somebody from one shift to another shift, inconvenience them, or relocate them from Station 5 to Station 1. You know about it, you're doing a job on it. Is that not telling the truth? Laziness. We're worried about people's feelings and doing what's right. So that's 75 of them. That leaves the other 25 that less than 10 died from pure firefighting. The other 15 is the reality that we're all destined to aspire to. And that's bold and blunt, that's the truth. I'm here to tell you, I don't want anybody to die. My father was 3 weeks short at 81, was still active as a fire marshal, died on October 8th, 2016. I watched him die of cancer for 7 months. I burned almost 1,000 hours of sick leave to be there with him. I was as close to my father as you could ever be to somebody. I lived in 5 houses, 4 of them side by side. Never left a neighborhood, never went to Chicago, left me and why to be a firefighter because I lived with my parents. My mom died 4 months later with a broken heart. She's been married for 46 years. But at the end of the day, I miss them. It's painful. But they lived a great life. They were married 56 years. They're not going to live forever. Nobody lives forever. Society needs to understand that. At the end of the day, do we want to give everybody the opportunity to live the longest life they can? Yeah. But I'm here to tell you what a lot of people don't want to tell you. Bad shit happens. I know it. I see it. I work in a bad place, a crazy place. 17 murders within a mile and a half a few years ago in my house. 17 murders within 1.5 miles, and they put it on a map, the homicide division. 2 weeks ago, I heard gunshots. The dispatcher called me at 2 o'clock in the morning outside my battalion bunker. We were right out front of the firehouse with a drug deal going around, and they unloaded 6 shots. One of them right inside the head. Got big old guy laid out in the street now. Drug dealer. Bad stuff happens. Do we manage it? Guaranteed. But we, the fire service, have to understand that what Andy Frederick said on his keynote before 9/11 will stand the test of time. A nozzle is to a firefighter what a rifle is to a soldier in wartime. It is the soldier and the rifle that will win the war, and it is the firefighter and the nozzle that will win the war. Plain and simple. That's just surmising his keynote speech. In 10 years and in 20 years, firefighters will still be taking a nozzle, hooked to a hose line, and pushing in to private dwellings and multiple dwellings to stop the destruction of fire, production of combustible, dangerous gases, and we'll be conducting searches. More civilians are saved every week, week in and week out. More civilians are saved every single week in this country. In 1 week, more civilians are pulled from fire and survive than we kill firefighters in an entire 52-week year. Now think about what I just told you. More civilians are saved in a week in this country than firefighters die in a year. If you want to say Curt Isakson said he's willing to trade firefighters for civilian lives, that's fine. You can say, I didn't say that, but that's how you want to do it. So would you agree on national accepted terms if they said, hey, next year we're going to give up 7 firefighters, but we're going to save 500 civilians because those 7 firefighters pay the ultimate price for 500 to live. Would that be acceptable in our U.S. military terms? 7 lives for 500? See, we don't really want to stomach what I just said, do we? And I say that with one of my great friends who drives me day in and day out to continue. He died at 800 East Hatton Street on a nozzle of an ISO-1 fire department with a hydrant in the front yard. But see, he didn't die because of inability. He died because of lack of our cultural understanding of search operations married with water application. That's what I've been trying to fix the last 19 years, is that he should have been seeking and destroying that 2-room fire while other people were assigned to search. Since he was the first one in the front door, he was trying to conduct the search while dragging water around. And that would have been more dangerous than if he just left the hose line out front and just went in and did a search. Because if he was doing a search, what would he have stayed for if he didn't have a hose line? Oriented. So he didn't know where he was, and any given time things go bad, he'd gone out a window. But since he had a hose line, what did he stop thinking about inside that structure? Because he had that hose line, his brain told that hose was connected to a fire truck, so he became disoriented to where when everything went south, he got on the hose line, he had no clue where it was. So having a hose line was actually more dangerous the way he was using it than if he had just not even had a hose line. And those are things that we have to do. Even as pathetic and unacceptable as some of the information in the essential ifs to God is, we need to read it and understand some of the positives in there. There's one positive in there that I do know of. It talks about the fact that doing a search with a hose line is ineffective. Dragging a hose line around to conduct a primary search in a private dwelling is ineffective. You can't do it. You just bog down. When a hose line, a nozzle breaks the threshold of a private dwelling in 2020, it should have one primary mission: seek and destroy. Even to go as far as most of the time, if you were going down the hallway, and in the hallway there was one or two rooms on fire, and halfway down the hallway you came across an unconscious victim, what should the nozzle firefighter do when they come to that unconscious victim? Step over. Step over, because if they stepped over them and they went 4 more feet and opened the nozzle, what's that nozzle going to do in less than 30 seconds? It's going to control that fire. Now how much time do we have to get Johnny to shoot the out? Basically indefinitely. But if we stop short and we set the nozzle down, how long is it going to truly take us to truly get around that person, especially if they're an adult, to then drag them over the nozzle, through the hose line, and the whole entire time, what does the fire continue to do? What could it possibly be doing even more so since the front door's open and it created an oxygen inlet, a discharge of upward explosive fire gases that are now mixing perfectly to create a significant flow path to not cause the first flashover, but the second or third flashover. And that's what we rarely talk about in the fire service. See, we really talk about, we don't even title it first flashover. We talk about flashover. And I want you to bear with me for a second. 3 minutes and 40 seconds is what I like to refer to as the first flashover. But rarely we discuss the fact that when the fire group is happening, the flashover. Who has seen the UL Legacy video? Modern and Legacy furniture. Most of you, right? Everybody's seen it. So I want you to image that living room. When that living room's burning, it gets to 2 minutes and 30 seconds. It gets to 3 minutes. Not to the 340 yet when it flashes. Where's all that heat going? The flame combustion of that couch. It's rolling up that case opening to that living room. Where's that heat going? It's a one-story. It's rolling across into the kitchen, the dining room, down the hallway to whatever room the doors are open. If it's a 2-story private dwelling with an open stairwell, it's rolling across the ceiling, going up the open stairwell, and it's banging down the stairs. So when the next room lights off, is it going to be 3 minutes and 40 seconds from when it lights off till it flashes? It's going to be like a fire going up a mountain. The second flash might be 3 minutes. The next room might be two minutes. The next room might be 1 minute. That's how we miscalculate our first 2 sides of this. We'll pull up and we'll see one room will fire and we'll say, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. By the time we do X, Y, and Z and we stretch a line, and we've gone through that reflex time, if you will, and we're actually ready to do something, is it still like 3 minutes, 40 seconds, 1 room fire? No, it's at 2 or 3 room fire. So we have to think about where the fire's been, where it's at, where it's going, and that will dictate our initial tactics, if you will, on what we're going to do. As we go through this stuff, I'm kind of getting the juices going in ranking, and I'm going to get it in great detail. So when you get back to the front house, you'll have some good stuff to talk about, some good drills to do, and share with your company. It is pretty awesome that we're still on slide 1. Weapon selection for today's fire. And weapon selection, am I primarily talking about the hose and nozzle? Yeah. But I'm also talking about the overall weapon package, the weapons, not just one weapon, of what we're going to do, not just the nozzle, but our weapon being us, our first alarm assignment, our seat assignments, if you will. What we're expected to do if we roll up in our organization and we ride the first 3 rigs at 3, 3, and 3, I call that the first 3 with 9. And if your department does not do that, you need to put pen to paper, and I'll keep it simple for you. When you go back. A kitchen fire, a laundry room fire, and a bedroom fire. Everybody's going to have one of those. So let's just start with a kitchen fire. If you have a kitchen fire in your first 2 territory, take a piece of paper, take a pen, and whatever the first 2 companies is, staff of 2, 3, or 4. What are they going to do for a kitchen fire? Second new company is going to be a ladder company that's cross-staffed with 2 people. Third new company is going to be a transport BLS unit with firefighter UNTs on it. Everybody see where I'm going with this? And you can pin the pin for a sign who's going to do what to get that line to the kitchen fire, and who's going to bring the 6-foot hook to pull the ceiling for extension to the attic, who's going to be the 2-person team that does the primary search, who's going to be the initial 2 out until we can have 4 out, because 2 in, 2 out is only what's called an IRIT, which an IRIT by the United States Fire Administration is a 2 in, 2 out until the box alarm is there. Once the full alarm assignment is on scene, what is the technical legal law where it is supposed to have how many members for a RIT team? 4. See, the country, the fire service, only jumped off on one chapter. They jumped on the chapter of 2 in, 2 out. They never went and got the book from the U.S. Fire Administration how the codes really read. They jumped on the 2 in, 2 out to the chiefs to cross. And by the way, I've been a battalion chief for 15 years, so when I'm knocking chiefs, I'm knocking myself. I've been sitting in staff meetings because I was in the training division beforehand. So I've been sitting for nearly 20 years. I've been sitting in staff meetings. So I'm picking on myself too when I talk about chiefs and vice chiefs at the headquarters. Because a lot of times we get in the office where it's climate control, we have all these theories about what we're going to do, but theory doesn't put out fire. But coast to coast around the nation, we got consumed with 2 in, 2 out so much that the chief doesn't care about what we're doing fighting the fire as long as there's 2 people assigned. Now those 2 people that have never fought a fire, never ever even taken a RIT pack to do a mass transversion or air fill, they've never assessed a down firefighter or shut down the path, confirmed it's the firefighter they called the mayday, how much air they have, and doing the whole package deal. As long as we got those 2 check-in-the-box firefighters in the front yard, regardless of what their training is. See, that's only good until the box alarm gets there. Once the box alarm gets there, that check in the box will no longer exist unless you have 4 people, which is a bona fide RIT team. That's not my opinion. That's the U.S. Fire Administration's opinion. So, let's go with what Andy Frederick said. What did Andy Frederick say? Pre-fire, I'm not another one, he did say that too. He said, 2 out, never going to take 2 in. In the 90s, he said that. 2 out is never going to stay 2 in. And what he meant by that is if you have 2 in the front yard standing by for 2 to go inside, if the 2 get in trouble inside, those 2 outside are going to do nothing but possibly kill themselves trying to rescue the 2 in. So we're really going to check a box. Let's check a box that counts. Let's check a box that makes sense. And his point was that we would be almost better off, historically, statistically speaking, experience-wise, than if we just allowed all of them to do what? Focus on getting that line in operation than just having somebody stand over in a sterile environment because we want to check a box that everything's covered. So remember, now, and here's what's interesting. Who defines the box alarm assignment? Who defines when the first alarm assignment has arrived? AHJ, the authority to have jurisdiction. The chiefs, when they tell dispatch, I want you to send 3 engines, a truck, and a rescue. So they decide, they themselves are defining when they're supposed to be in the letter of law for. So the chief really wanted to, they wanted to say the box alarm assignment. Give me a department that's 30 minutes away from the game one. Was it? Blackfoot. So if Idaho Falls has a company from Blackfoot that's assigned the first alarm assignment of every fire, they assign one of their companies, that means they have 30 minutes to get 4 people assigned to a written check in the box. I'm being facetious. Does that make sense? So a lot of times we control our standards and we don't even realize it if we just dive a little deeper into it. I'm not advocating that. What I'm trying to advocate is sometimes instead of just doing stuff because it's going to be CYA in a court of law, how about you do something that's going to keep you from going to a court of law? It's going to keep it from happening because as much as it's becoming more common for departments being attacked, I mean, at the end of the day, man, I already mentioned one of them, like I mentioned again, there's been some departments that were pretty negligent. And at the end of the day, if you really want to get down to the brass tacks, you see I put that in there, and the hard facts of it, there's really not much of accountability. What happened in Charleston, South Carolina for the fire chief? 9 people died in a super store fire using 1-inch booster lines, 1.5-inch hose, 2.5-inch hose, 800 feet down the street to hydrants. literally no command and controls. Anybody in here familiar with that fire? Am I talking over your head? I mean, I'm just being blunt, you know what I mean? There really was no accounting, but it was all said and done, man. A little bit of, you know what I mean? So I'm not saying there should have been or shouldn't have been. What I'm saying is, instead of sometimes being so consumed with the legalities, how about being consumed with just doing what you know is right to make the fire ground safer, make the fire operation safer? And I'm going to tell you, in today's fires, it's going to be making sure that you have a good hose and nozzle package. And you have to determine that yourself. I have no fix-all for you on that. And really, you can't use somebody else's test. You have to get out and test it. And a lot of times you're going to find you already have the equipment. There's no new equipment to buy. It's just knowing how to use it, how to marry it up, and what pressures to use, and what training you're going to do as a whole. So I'm glad we made it to slide 2, the objectives. We're doing pretty good here. So the big thing I'm going to really hit a lot of is water on the fire. And I'm going to hit water on the fire a lot because a lot of my programs revolve around different aspects or tactical ways to make the fire ground safer through water application, whether it be engine and truck operations or the whole personnel on assignment. Water is the equalizer. Water is the equalizer. Water maintains and creates survivable space. Water maintains and creates survivable space. What does that mean when I say water maintains and creates survivable space? If you pull up on a 2-story private dwelling and the first floor kitchen, living room, and dining room are burning, but the second floor is survivable, or there's rooms because the doors are closed or isolation, and you pull up and you put enough water in that kitchen, dining room, and living room, immediately to control that fire and stop its growth, stop its extension up the stairwell, did you maintain whatever survivable space was upstairs through rapid water application? 5-gallon bucket on a cigarette? And then when you put that massive amount of water, you punch that kitchen, living room, and dining room in the face, whether it be a 50-foot section at 2.5, blitzing it with gallons per second, and an inch and a quarter moving in, did you create survivable space on the first floor by doing it? Because when you got to the first floor, kitchen, dining room, living room are burning, you hit it hard with a 2.5, and you knocked it down. So now if you go up that set of stairs, and you don't have the staff, and you throw ladders on the rear of the house, Charlie's side, and you find a civilian upstairs. Since you applied an overabundance amount of water to the first floor, can you possibly now bring them down the stairs and out the front door? Where just 3 minutes ago was on fire. Did we create survival space on the first floor through water application? And we need to understand that water application, first and foremost, is maintaining anything that's survivable. Stopping the stopwatch. Basically, being able to give us a chance to get a second, third, fourth new company on scene, whether it be an interior stairwell search, a second floor VES first floor, a second floor VES via ground ladders, and then also if we have to bring them back through our point of entry, that on arrival is not even survivable for us, but we made it survivable through extinguishment, through proper water application. And I'm going to tell you, I'm passionate about it because I would say probably my first 5 to 7 years of actually wearing bunkers. I've been going to fires my whole life. I experienced my first civilian fire fatality in 1979, riding with my dad. My mom went home. My dad was the chief. He said, "Hey, we got to go. We got to work in fire with entrapment." I don't remember him saying that, but I got in the car. All I remember was being in my dad's car and looking through the window. I was at that age where you remember things. I don't remember the whole scene. I just remember it was a 2-story house, and later I was, my dad took me and showed me where the street was, Laurel Drive. And I remember looking through the window and I saw him put an adult at the time. I don't know if it was a man or a woman, but it was a man. Middle-aged man. Later on, I was going to find out. Into a bag and he zipped it up. When you're a kid, you see him put a human being in a bag and zip it up. It doesn't make any sense to you. So, I tell you that because my whole life is littered with things like that and drive me to be passionate and understanding that we do make a difference based on our performance. And back to fire, we're talking to people years ago going back, if we had that same fire, that same house, and that same location today, that man would probably live. It's just the truth. It's me being honest, because the first 2 fire trucks that would show up today, they would be flowing a lot more water than they were. In 1979, what were they flowing? What kind of nozzles were they using? Selective gallons instead of 125 or 95. 1.5-inch hose. And what kind of water application pattern were they using in 1979? A power cone.
little drops of water is the most efficient water application to absorb heat. And that's what drove us to think that we pushed fires, because we were using a fog attack, little drops of water. And our eyes sent us a message that we were extinguishing fire, but in reality we weren't extinguishing fire. We're putting little drops of water on flaming combustion so the flames would go away. So what do we think we did to the fire? And then we go to the next room, but the heat was still there. What would that room do? Auto reignite, because we never flowed enough water in a string, solid string to go through the fire gases to put the water where? On the burning solid fuel. See, I feel lucky that I grew up seeing those auto reignitions. Even as much as, not even from the inside, going window to window with a 30-degree fog pattern, put the window, you whip it around, the flames go away. We went to the next window, we'd stick in the window, we'd whip it around. Oh shit, we gotta go back to this one, it's burning again. And we'd whip it around, and then we go to the next window. Anybody been to that fire where you stuck in a window, you thought the fire was out, you went to the next one, the next thing you know, the steam lifted, the solid fuels were still hot enough to reignite, and they auto reignited. And that is where it's not a debate. 99% of the time, we want to use a straight stream for an adjustable fog nozzle, or we want to use a solid stream for interior fire attack, and, you don't hear many people say this, for exterior fire attack. If we're going to hit it hard from the yard, then we want to truly hit it hard from the yard, which means we want enough water to go through the flames. That's right. I love it when it's solid strength don't work. They just go right through the fire. When they tell me that, that's when they just admitted their ignorance of water application for fire extinguishment. I don't even get mad. I just start laughing at it. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, hey, pull up a chair. I'm buying the drinks tonight just for entertainment. Don't charge me. Right? Because those flames are fire gases from a solid that produced them. And you're not going to ever take that flame and put it back into a dresser or a bed or a picture, right? What we're trying to do is get enough water to survive going through that window or that door or whatever it is, through the flames, to hit a ceiling or a wall, and do water mapping where the water runs down the wall, runs on top of the bed, on top of the dresser, and truly cools what's burning to where it's not what? For simple terms, hot enough to burn and give off gas. One of my favorite things to share, it's a big secret. They've been letting it out there. People have been making memes and posting it, and I don't appreciate it. And it's copyrighted, unless you're in class. Okay, take your notes, you want to write this down. I wish when I was a young kid, the chiefs that I worked for understood this. I'm going to use the 4-letter words again to put your big boy and big girl pants on. I don't use 4-letter words very often. It's all right, man. We're going to use 5 on today. You can dry shit out, but you can't unburn it. You can dry shit out, but you can't unburn it. Who's been in a fire service more than 20 years? Raise your hand, hold it up. See, some of this stuff's hard for you because you came on a job where you brainwashed you, where you're worried about breaking glass, and that was unnecessary property damage to Mrs. Smith. And water, we don't use too much water because it's water damage. But if you look back, how many times when we were done, they were going to bulldoze it anyways because we sucked at putting water in the fire. And you can dry stuff out, but you can't unburn it. So you don't go to a fire and scientifically come up with the exact gallon. What you do is you go there and you unload a 50 cal until all the ammunition boxes are done, and you wait and see if anybody gets up and walks out. And if one person gets up and walks out, what do? You reload. That's what you do. You don't go in there and say, well, I think this is going to be 36.5 gallons a second. I'm going to float with 7.2 seconds. But that's what we were trying to do back in the 80s and 90s, for anybody that's on the job. We were so consumed because we knew it, and the fire was out, the chief came in and he saw an inch of water on the floor. He's liable to do what to us? Chastise us. I've experienced that. And that was just a wrong track that we were on in training. If I go into a building or a house and I see a foot of water, I'll be honest with you, I'm not happy. I'm like, oh my God, I took this thing out of context. But if I go, there's a little water on the floor, we did our job.
We floated enough water that we put it out in such a short period of time, we stopped combustion, and now they can pull everything out, they can dry it out. When a hurricane comes, like Harvey to Houston, or Ivan to Pensacola, or Dennis to New Orleans, or Katrina, when the storm comes and the houses flood, they bulldoze every house. Oh, they dry everything out, they rebuild, they save what they can, and then move on. But right now in California, when a fire comes through, there's nothing but building from the ground up. When a fire's done, it's done. And I have to tell people that. You look at a city or a town that was devastated by a wildfire in California, and you look at a city or a town that was hit by a hurricane, which one would you take? A hurricane every day of the week. I'm going to trust me. There's no way in this room that's experienced what I've experienced hurricane-wise. I live on the water. I grew up on the beach all the way since a little kid in the 70s, man. I just come home with my dock gone, trees on my house, friends with nothing left, man, where their entire house is nothing but a foundation because of storm surge is what gets us. And I still think a hurricane will roll wildfire to the end. When I come back to a hurricane, even if the storm surge came through, I could walk, it might be a mile away, but I could possibly find what? A container of my stuff before I had pictures. You know what I mean? Like, as crazy and devastating as it is, that's my example to you. Is Judge, you want me to break it? I decided to do a break. Pretty cool, man. Sorry up here. Just kidding. But think about it. Does that make sense to you? A wildfire devastation versus a hurricane devastation? And those are the analogy I like to use when we talk about going to a fire. When you pull up and you've got a 2-car garage fully involved, extending into a laundry room, kitchen, and an attic, now's not the time to pull onward like get water in the kid's bedroom. What you need to do is be worried about putting that fire out in the next 90 seconds with either using 1 or 2 2.5 or 2.5 or 1.75 inches. Not going to that 2-car garage with an automatic 1 3/4 fire nozzle flowing 80 gallons a minute because you're going to use 3,000 gallons and it's still going to be burning. But if you pull up and stretch a 2.5 at 1 1/8 or preferably 1 3/16 tip, even with a 500 or 750 gallon booster tank, we're going to probably do it about 90 seconds in that 2-car garage. We're going to knock it down. It's not going to be full extinguished. We're going to put a pause on that DVD player, if you will. Anybody have any questions in the first hour? Am I making you think? That's what I want to do. I want to make you think. You know what I mean? We're just getting there. We're just 1 hour into this, and we're going to hit it hard and heavy. But what I kind of did was in the first hour, just kind of give you some ideas of some stuff I'm going to dive deep into. The booster backup. Hit it hard, hit it fast, and back it up. Loading up on the front end. Understanding water creates and maintains survivable space. Understanding that Sun Tzu, the art of war, is what the American Fire Service has to embrace because fires are burning faster. So there's only one option for you and I. If we react faster. Our reflex time is shorter. And to pull up on a working fire in a private dwelling is not a hazmat incident. We need tactics now. Tactics save lives. Tactics and performing action is one of the most important things we're going to do to save lives. And not only lives, what's second to lives, and it's still a priority. Property. Property still counts. All right, take a 10-minute break, stretch. Turn on the heater, get warmed up, whatever it is you do.